Los Angeles erupts after President Trump deploys the National Guard.
The California National Guard will be deployed to Los Angeles County as large protests against immigration
Can this military response ease the crisis, or will it only make things worse? In a dramatic escalation of tension surrounding immigration enforcement, President Donald Trump has authorized the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops to Los Angeles following 2 days of violent confrontations between federal agents and protesters. The decision comes as immigration and customs enforcement operations in predominantly Latino neighborhoods have sparked widespread unrest, prompting the administration to characterize the situation as a direct challenge to federal authority. What ignited this explosive situation? The crisis began Friday when federal agents conducted sweeping immigration raids across Los Angeles, targeting undocumented workers in various locations, including the garment district, warehouses, and Home Depot parking lots. These operations resulted in the detention of at least 44 individuals for immigration violations, triggering immediate protests from immigrant rights activists and community members who have been preparing for such enforcement actions for months. The raids represent part of the Trump administration's broader strategy to dramatically increase deportations, with officials aiming to apprehend a minimum of 3,000 migrants daily nationwide. Saturday witnessed a significant escalation as protests spread to the Paramount area, where demonstrators confronted federal law enforcement officers. Law enforcement responded with tear gas, stun guns, riot shields, and what officials described as less lethal munitions to disperse crowds. The confrontations intensified throughout the day, with protesters setting fires in the streets and creating roadblocks using shopping trolleys and rubbish bins. By evening, the situation had deteriorated to the point where Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced that active duty Marines at Camp Pendleton were placed on high alert and could be deployed if violence continued. White House aide Stephen Miller condemned the protests as a violent insurrection against the United States, while the administration characterized the demonstrations as attacks by violent mobs on federal law enforcement personnel. President Trump's memorandum authorizing the National Guard deployment specifically cited California's Democratic leadership's alleged failure to maintain order, with the president posting on social media that if Governor Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass can't do their jobs, then the federal government will step in and solve the problem. As the federal response grows, state leaders push back. But is the political clash making peace harder to find? California Governor Gavin Newsom strongly criticized the federal response, describing the National Guard deployment as purposefully inflammatory and warning that it would only escalate tensions. Newsom argued that local authorities were fully capable of handling the situation and maintained close coordination with city and county officials, asserting there was currently no unmet need for federal military intervention. The governor also deployed additional California Highway Patrol units to Los Angeles area highways in an effort to maintain peace. The current crisis highlights the broader implications of Trump's immigration enforcement strategy, which has shifted focus toward workplace raids targeting the estimated 4% of America's workforce consisting of undocumented immigrants. These operations have affected not only undocumented individuals, but also some legal residents and permanent residents, creating legal challenges and community tensions across the country. Similar enforcement actions in cities like Chicago, Boston, San Diego, and New Orleans have resulted in confrontations between federal agents and local communities, signaling a new phase in the administration's deportation efforts. As raids spread nationwide, LA's crisis reveals a bigger fight over policy and power. But how far will the administration go to enforce its agenda? The deployment of 2,000 National Guard personnel under Title X authority is authorized for 60 days or at the discretion of the Secretary of Defense, with the possibility of additional regular armed forces being employed as deemed necessary. This marks a significant militarization of immigration enforcement operations and represents one of the most intense episodes of the Trump administration's immigration policy implementation to date. as tensions continue to simmer between federal authorities and local communities. The situation in Los Angeles serves as a flashpoint for broader national debates over immigration policy and federal versus state authority in enforcement matters. But with troops now on the ground, is this the solution to restoring order or just the beginning of a longer standoff?